Imagine this hidden world, almost like invisible factories all around us, constantly working.
Hmm.
But they're not making cars or furniture. They're building something else entirely, something made of code.
Right, the software that runs pretty much everything now.
Exactly. Welcome to the deep dive. We try to pull back the curtain on these unseen forces shaping things.
And today, we're looking into the world of software, but specifically as a business.
Yeah.
It's intricate.
Yeah, forget the stereotypes of just programmers, right? This is way bigger. Think high stakes, global impact. And we've got this framework, 100 questions.
Think of them like clues, maybe.
Mm.
Breadcrumbs leading through this complex territory.
Okay, I like that. Clues. And you're saying these aren't just random questions?
No, they come from about 25 years of, actually working in this field, trying to connect the dots.
25 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's a way to try and understand let's say, the deep structure of this invisible machine.
Okay, the invisible machine. And why should you listening care about that?
Well, because it influences almost everything. How we talk to each other, how companies run.
Even big personal stuff. The outline mentioned retirement security.
Potentially, yes. Understanding the system helps you see the bigger picture. These questions, they're not a technical manual.
More like a key, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A key to unlock a world that's kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Source material suggests the real power now is knowing what questions to ask.
Interesting. Okay, let's start unlocking them. Where do we begin this deep dive?
Let's start right at the heart of it, the computer itself. Questions 1 through 8, basically.
The absolute basics.
Yeah, the core functions. Like, how does this thing even work? What are the main pieces?
Okay, like the CPU, that's the brain.
Of the brain, right. And memory, it's a short-term scratch pad.
Yeah.
The motherboard connecting everything.
The nervous system.
Sort of, yeah. And then input, output, how we interact with it, just understanding the basic physical machine first.
Right, the hardware,
Yeah.
the tangible bits. But that stuff just sits there
Without the software. That's question 8. What is software's fundamental role?
It's the instructions, the commands, the lifeblood.
You could say that. It animates the hardware. Without it, it's just a box of parts, like you said.
Okay, so hardware needs software. Got it. Then where do questions 9 to 13 take us?
From the machine itself to how it's made. The hidden factories. We look at the desktop manufacturing supply chain.
Hidden factories. I like that. So how these parts actually get built and put together?
Precisely. Especially focusing on semiconductors.
Yeah.
These tiny, incredibly complex components.
They're in everything now, aren't they?
Pretty much everything electronic, yeah. So how are they designed?
Yeah.
Made, shipped around the world. It's a huge, complex process.
And when you click buy online, you never really think about that whole chain reaction behind it.
Exactly. And the source material hints at this too. It's a vulnerable chain.
Vulnerable how?
Disruptions. Anything from, a natural disaster to geopolitical issues can mess up the whole supply. It shows how interconnected and, frankly, fragile it can be.
Like one weak link can cause massive problems down the line.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have the hardware. We have how it's made. But how do we tell the hardware what to do?
That brings us back to software, but more specifically, programming languages, questions 14 to 17.
Right. What are these languages? Think of them like specialized languages for talking to computers.
Secret codes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
How are they created? What different kinds exist? Because there isn't just one.
And they've changed over time, I assume.
Massively. Their evolution has totally shaped how software gets built today. It's like digging into the history of how we learned to command these machines.
Okay, so we have the machine, the making of it, the languages to control it.
No.
What's next in the sequence? 18 to 25.
That's the actual process of creating software, the development life cycle.
Taking an idea and turning it into like an app on your phone.
Exactly. From that first spark of an idea through design, building it, testing it, all the stages.
Sounds like a journey.
It is. And it involves a lot of people, developers, testers, quality assurance folks. And crucially, question 25 points this out. User feedback.
So it's not just built in isolation.
Not usually, no. Good software evolves. You release something, see how people use it, get feedback, and then you refine it. It's a continuous loop.
A conversation almost between the makers and the users.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so we've got the physical machine, the languages, the creation process. But where does a lot of this software actually live nowadays?
Not always on my own computer, right? Yes. Out there somewhere. In the cloud.
Bingo. Questions 26 to 33 tackle cloud infrastructure.
The cloud, Still sounds a bit mysterious to me.
Think of it as this huge, unseen network of powerful computers, data centers, all over the world.
So like renting computing power and storage instead of owning it all yourself?
Essentially, yes.
Hmm.
It allows software to reach a global scale almost instantly. The source prompts us to think about which cloud providers companies choose. That's a big strategic decision.
Right, because different providers offer different things, presumably.
Different services, different costs, different locations. And this leads directly into question 31. SaaS.
Software as a service. I've heard that term.
It means you're not buying software like a one-off product anymore. You're accessing it, usually subscribing to it through the cloud.
Like Microsoft 365 or Google Docs.
Perfect examples.
Mm-hmm.
And question 33 highlights how this SaaS model, enabled by the cloud, has totally changed how software is developed and used. It's a huge shift.
From owning a box of software to just accessing a service online.
Pretty much. Now,
Oh.
let's talk about what drives this whole engine
The money.
and the power. Questions 34 through 45 get into the business side, the business models.
Yeah, because not all software costs money up front, right?
Right.
How do free things like, say, search engines make money?
That's the big question, isn't it? Question 36 dives into that. How do they monetize?
Advertising must be a big part of it.
Often, yes. The source points to advertising as key, but also how these models keep changing and evolving. It's not static.
Always looking for new ways to create value or, well, revenue.
Right. And it's not just about the immediate money. Questions 40 to 42 look at the bigger picture. How tech giants expand their markets.
How they deal with competitors.
Exactly. How they innovate, or sometimes acquire innovation through mergers and acquisitions. M&A is a huge tool for growth.
Buying up smaller, innovative companies.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But with all this data and power comes responsibility, right?
Definitely. Which brings us to security, privacy.
Questions 43 and 44, huge topics, data security, user privacy, the ethics of it all. It's a constant balancing act.
A tightrope walk, you called it earlier.
It really is. And question 25 reminds us that governments and regulations are watching and trying to shape this too.
Okay, so that's the business engine. What about the future? Where are things heading? Questions 46 to 55.
This looks at the R&D, the research and development happening inside these big tech companies. What are they working on now?
What's the next big thing?
Trying to figure that out. The source highlights emerging trends, especially the growing role of AI and machine learning.
Artificial intelligence, that's everywhere in the news.
And question 51 points to data analysis as being absolutely central. Understanding data is key to building future software.
But it's not just the tech itself, is it? It's about how people use it.
Absolutely. Questions 52 through 55 cover that. Personalization tailoring experiences, user experience design making it easy and intuitive, and accessibility ensuring everyone can use it.
Making technology human-centered.
Ideally, yes. And speaking of collaboration, questions 56 to 60 touch on something called open source.
Open source, what's that?
It's where the underlying code of the software is shared publicly. Anyone can look at it, use it, even suggest improvements.
So companies just give their code away? That
Yeah.
seems counterintuitive for business.
It does. But it's huge in tech. Big companies both use a lot of open source software built by the community, and they often contribute back to it as well.
Why would they do that?
Builds goodwill, attracts talent, can lead to better, more secure code because more eyes are on it. It's a complex relationship. The source asks us to think about how companies manage that.
Interesting. A collaborative web, almost.
Yeah, and that leads into the people actually doing the work. Questions 61 to 68, the human element.
The skills needed, how teams work together.
Right. What makes a good software engineer? How do companies try to foster innovation? It also touches on things like project management. Agile methodologies are mentioned.
Ways of working more flexibly.
Exactly. And DevOps, which is about bringing the development teams and the operations teams closer together to get software out faster and more reliably.
More collaboration again.
Always. Now, with all this software out there, you need to protect it.
Cybersecurity. Questions 69 to 72.
Yep. How do companies handle security? Encryption is mentioned as crucial.
Scrambling data so others can't read it?
Essentially. And how they deal with the inevitable data breaches, third-party threats. Plus, the importance of software updates those patches you're always asked to install.
Yes. They're plugging security holes.
Often, yes. It's a constant effort to stay ahead of the attackers, a digital fortress that needs constant maintenance.
Okay, this is getting really broad now. Global reach, 73 to 86.
Yeah, software is global.
Uh,
How do tech companies handle different countries, different laws, intellectual property issues?
Must be incredibly complex.
It is. And product management plays a key role here, balancing what users in different places need with the company's business goals.
And how do they know if they're even succeeding?
Good question. The source brings up measuring success, keeping customers happy, managing crises.
And bigger societal issues, too, like diversity, sustainability.
Yes, questions 84 to 86 touch on that. Diversity and inclusion within the company, social responsibility, environmental impact, the wider role these companies play.
They have a huge influence, so these questions seem really important.
They really do. Okay, finally, the last section. Questions 87 to 100. Looking ahead, navigating the unknown.
Learning from the past, preparing for the future.
Right. Acknowledging there have been failures as well as successes. How do companies stay competitive? What about truly disruptive future tech? The source mentions things like blockchain, quantum computing, IoT, the Internet of Things.
Connecting everyday objects to the internet.
Yeah. And AR/VR, augmented and virtual reality, plus the ongoing impact of remote work.
Lots of potential game changers there.
Definitely. And it loops back to ethics, too. The final questions really ask, what is the responsibility of tech leaders in shaping society's future?
Wow, okay. That's a lot to cover in 100 questions. From the basic computer parts all the way to the future of society.
It really maps out the whole landscape, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From the silicon chip to these huge global and ethical questions.
So hopefully even just touching on these questions gives you listening a sense of how deep and complex this world of software as a business really is.
Yeah, and like the source material implies, these 100 questions are just a starting point, a framework.
A map to start exploring.
Exactly. We hope you'll take these areas and maybe dig deeper yourself. Use books, talk to people, use search engines, even AI tools, compare what they say. Form your own view.
Because this invisible code, this hidden world, it's running so much of our lives.
It really is.
What other secrets might it hold? What unseen influences are shaping your reality right now? That's your deep dive for today.